Okay, people. Well, what can I say? What a jam-packed weekend of fight. Friday, we had Bellator at Bellator 260, I believe. And we had
260.
the new format, well, the new name, really, of the Invicta tournament, which is now the Phoenix tournament. I did prefer Phoenix series, but hey ho, what can you do? You know what I mean? And
I
then
agree.
on Saturday, it was the big one, UFC 263, two titles, and the first 5 round. I mean, it's essentially the co-main event, but kind of more the feature fight. But it was for fire. 14 fights. We
Ooh.
got all 14. There was no dropouts. It was just like, yeah, yeah, yes.
No, it was amazing. Three freaking endings with 5 rounds each. Yeah, for the title, it was great. It was a great finish.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
Times.
so much shit to talk about right now,
No
people.
doubt.
So much shit to talk about. But because there was so much going on, like it is too much for one mere man to be able to watch. So I brought my boy Mike back because you know what I mean. We previewed it, so
Thank you.
it would be a bit of a shame not to recap it together. But Mike did a solid, and Mike got into that Bellator
I'm back.
action. So
I'm
Michael, do you want to let us have the skinny on what went down in that Bellator cage?
I mean, really, the mostly with Bellator 260, you have the Asimov versus Douglas going on, and it was amazing that Asimov actually took out Lima. Douglas Lima, yeah, it's like for whatever, yeah, he actually lost to Asimov. I'm a big Lima fan forever,
Mm.
and honestly, I thought it was going Lima's way, but towards I think fourth round, Lima just started coming in with the better wrestling. He just like basically was bringing it in, and yeah,
So, so getting up to the fourth round, how did you think it was, though? Like
yeah, I
on the
thought.
score, what would you have said it was going into the fourth?
I mean, honestly, yeah, I would have taken Lima even up into the fifth round when things just sort of turning to Osmasov. I mean, it's just like he was really dominating for most of the fight, and just like sort of almost like UFC right here with what do you call it, Nate, almost took it at the end, but Lima actually did take it at the end, or not Lima, Asmanov actually took it at the end there. Yeah, it was a really close. It's like a late armbar attempt, but yeah, Osma survived by Lima, but yeah, it was a great fight all the way around.
So, like on your scorecard, who did what was the score on your score? Like, if you were scoring it, what would you have said that fight was?
I mean, it was really freaking close. It was really freaking close. I mean, Osmov out wrestled Lima for the most part throughout the whole fight, but it could have went either way. Either
Okay,
way, if Lima would have got the armbar at the end, he would have made the finish for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a so close back and forth. I mean, if it would have if Lima would have had a better finish in the third or better points in third and fourth, it would have been a little bit different. But yeah, it was unfortunately it's like just by points, Osmov took it. It's like I
That's
don't disagree with the results at all.
okay. Okay.
It
So,
was a decision, but it was close. It was close.
so what do you think? What happens next? Do you think MVP challenges Asimov, or what did they indicate which way they were going to go? Are they giving Lima an immediate rematch?
I don't think they get immediate rematch. I mean, Asimov survived that thing, but Lima almost took it. It was so freaking close there at the end, but a few more seconds, he probably could have locked it in a little bit better. But it's really hard to say. I think I'm not 100% comfortable with the whole Bellator lineup with who would they have next. But I could see. I mean, Lima would have to need one or two more fights to come back to fight Aspensoft. He's definitely above him at this point.
Okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. So was that like the standout fight on the card, would you say?
Oh, by far. Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, it's kind of hard with Bellator. It's just sort of almost watching it in the background in a lot of ways. It's like I like Bellator, but it's kind of hard to focus because there's so much weird camera angles and the production value is just not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to really get invested into every fight.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I've watched the last. Well, I didn't see the last card, but before that, I'd watched the first three cards of the year, and yeah, it was a little tough. It was a little tough. Like the announcing, I just was weird. The camera angles, the production, it's just a little bit flat for me. So yeah,
Exactly.
I see what you're talking about. I see what you're talking
You can
about.
so easily tune out and get sidetracked by whatever's going on here with my wife, or, you know, yes, it's so
Well,
hard to focus.
I get it. If I had a wife at home, I'd be more distracted with her than watching Bellator.
Oh,
I can tell you that right now.
no, no, absolutely. Especially Friday night, since he knew my Saturday was, dedicated to UFC. Friday night, I just sort of had to back and forth.
I'm sure she appreciated the fact that she had to share your attention with Bellator.
Oh, for sure. She loves UFC as well, so she was there on Saturday night.
Yeah, but it wasn't UFC.
No.
If you had to share with UFC, she'd be like, I get that. But she's just like, wait, you're sharing me with fucking Bellator, son? What
Exactly.
the fuck?
Some random ass side bitch, doesn't really fucking matter. Just sort of there when you need to call her up. You need some fights.
You made your wife feel like the cock in the corner, man. What's wrong with you?
I know, right? She accepted. That's all right.
Well, I will say, Invicta put on a very slick event. I've been enjoying the way Invicta have been doing their things, and this, this was very good, right? So the fighters involved, we had Jessica Delboni against Tabitha Watkins, Lindsay Van Sant against Katie Perez, Gillian DeCosi against Linda Malek, and Paulina Grandos against Marisa Mersa Balesha. And they were good fights. They were very good fights. So Delboni took it over Watkins. Now Watkins, I have to say, like Watkins, Delboni was good, right? Delboni came out. She was able to get a nice takedown early on. Watkins did challenge with an triangle and an armbar for a while, but the way she was positioned, she was never really going to get those submissions. So Delboni was able to get out and then land a little strike in at the end. It was a bit touch and go to see which way the judges would go because Watkins held that position for a while, but Delboni got it on a split. Van Sant, Lindsay Van Sant really shone. So in her first fight, very kick heavy, she's really good, got herself a takedown,
Nice.
let price up, but then just finished, just finished with a really nice, well, she had a triangle armbar attempt, which she then just went straight armbar. Price did defend well, but Van Sant was able to get the extension and get the tap. And Van Sant was the only person to get a finish in that first round, which meant she could choose her her next matchup. The other two matches were good. Gillian Dakoti, Linda Malik won that one, and Paulina Grandos, Marissa Mercer Balesia. Yeah, Balesia won as well. But in those two fights, oh my days, those two fights were kind of wars. And the person coming out a little bit beat up, which is, man, when you're in a tournament format, you do not want that. You do not want that, because, you know what I mean, it's just going to make it tough if you, even in the next fight, but if you get to the final, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Feel
yeah,
a little
Van
bummed that we
Sant-
watched Bellator over Invicta.
Man, so Van Sant beat Malek in the semifinals, and this went all around, but Van Sant really just owned it. She used a kick-heavy attack and was able to just control the range, you know, and just do the most damage.
Sure.
Del Boni beat Mercer Balesia. Mercer Balesia did come forward a lot, but Del Boni was the one landing the heaviest strikes. So we got the rematch in the final, Del Boni against Van Sant. And, you know, Van Sant came forward. In the first round, Van Sant was coming forward, but Del Boni was just countering so well. And then after that first round, Del Boni kind of took charge. And she was the one landing the heaviest strikes, putting together the combos. Van Sant was doing well, but she just, man, the power differential was just, I feel that was the thing, because every time Del Boni hit, you know what I mean? It kind of stopped Van Sant a little in her tracks.
One of those skill versus power situations right there.
I mean, kind of, but you know what I mean? Both are very skilled. Del Boni is very skilled. Van Sant, she's got a very movement heavy attack. You know, she's throwing a lot of kicks, but she's got a kickboxing background. But yeah, it was just that power. And then I think because you know, Del Boni really wanted to win this shit. She really wanted to get that title fight back. And so, man, you could just see, like, every time it was in the third round, when Van Sant hit her, it was just like, how motherfucking dare you? And you just see the rage, and she just came forward and really put it on Van Sant.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're gonna see a Jessica Del Boni, Alicia Zapatella rematch.
Yeah, I gotta go back and rewatch that.
That's gonna be fun as fuck.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch that. That sounds great.
Yeah, no, it was Invicta really did it right. Really did it right. That was fun, man. That was fun. Which good way to start a Friday, right?
Absolutely. I didn't know where to go on Friday night. I mean, I was, you know, I got that Discord server we're running. I was going back and forth between this and that, and yeah, it was a busy night Friday.
And then Saturday.
Ooh, baby boy.
Jesus, man. I have to say, right? Those last 3 fights on that card, yo.
Right.
And
that's not even talking about floppy arm and all this other bullshit that went on ahead of time. Wow.
I mean, they're like some of those, like, all the fights were good. All the fights. I will say, Eric Anders, Darren Stewart wasn't the fight I was expecting it to be. I after that first fight, I thought they might let it go a little bit more. It was definitely more clinch heavy than I was expecting. But you know, what can you do?
Actually, yeah, looking at my notes here. So yeah, Stewart won, but a little bit dull. Round three is close. Yeah, Anders by decision. Yeah. That's a very vague fight. Sort of remember. Nothing really stood out on me on that. It was just all hugging, which I
I
appreciate.
mean, I don't think they would call it hugging. I believe they
Hugging.
would call it clinch work. But yeah. Yeah.
No, but
I mean, there was more clinch work than I was expecting.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and really, as like, it's kind of funny. I think that those are the fights where, honestly, as like sort of more appreciating more MMA as I go on, those really, I really enjoy those kind of fights. Seeing the clinching and the grappling game and the intricacies, like the chess match,
Yeah.
where I could see somebody there where I know people where they was like, oh, that's just boring as shit. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck are they doing? They can't really appreciate that kind of fight, you know?
See, the one thing about the Anders Stewart fight, though, right? And I think you notice the difference later on, right? I think it was very apparent in the Edwards Diaz fight, which we'll get to in a bit.
Ooh, baby
But
boy. Mm-hmm.
when you saw, because when Anders had Stewart on the fence, right? And the commentary team, they nailed it. It's head position.
Right.
Anders just didn't have good head position, so he was never ever going to be able to truly control Stewart and utilize that position to get takedowns.
Right.
Because when you saw Edwards in that same sort of position, you see what he was doing with his head, right? You saw what he did with his head and the way he was then able to utilize that position to get takedowns and to, land elbows and do whatever, right? And I think that's the difference. It's just like when you're watching the clinch game, you want to see a true clinch game. You want to see people
Right.
that know how to utilize that position. And it was, just a little bit disappointing that Anders, after all the training, right? All the talk of, I've been training, I've been doing this, blah, blah, blah. And it just didn't really come to fruition on the
In
fight
round
night.
three, he almost came close to a finish, but just sort of under. He was
Yeah,
close. He was close.
yeah. I will say, I will definitely say, Farid Zaim, oh my gosh, Farid Zaim had some tremendous striking. He was in the second fight on the card against Luigi Vendarimi.
Oh,
And
right.
oh my god, Zim, he looked sharp. And
Yes.
hey, he could be the next breakout star from
No.
France.
He easily took round one and two without freaking question. I mean, Luigi was coming back in round three, but is this a
Yeah,
little bit too little, too late at that
yes.
point? It's like Zian was, if he didn't get the finish, it was over.
Yeah, I just in that last round, um Vendarimi was able to stop the takedown and just get away from the clinch, right? And I thought that was very big. That was very big, but it was just like,
Mhm.
yeah, you kind of needed to do that from the giddy up, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, for
And
sure.
and when it came to that third round, it was great that he was able to do it, but he wasn't really he then wasn't doing enough to finish.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, like throughout that whole fight, the third round with Vendarimi was probably the most exciting parts of the fight. Him coming back, but it was just not quite enough to pull it through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
No,
I'm a
definitely.
Vendarini fan, honestly. It's like, but yeah, not too little, too late. Thankfully, I didn't have any money on that fight.
Did you have a little flutter?
Honestly, I came out pretty. I came out ahead this weekend, so which is better than usual weekends.
Okay, like
Yeah.
it's crazy. During the fight, I saw that people were putting bets on, but I was a bit like, I don't know if that's worth it. Like, I think someone put, I believe, it was either on Nate or Vittori. They put 10 grand on, but you were only going to walk away with 13.6. And I'm like,
Right.
putting 10 grand on just to win free? I
No.
don't know if that's worth it. I don't
That's
think
like
I just hate that risk. The
that's the
reward
you have to
isn't
have the type of
enough.
money where you don't care at
Yeah,
that
oh
point.
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, it's just like burning money. It's like, yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I throw 10 grand on that. It's like, dude, that's like my rent for months.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
no
okay.
doubt. No doubt.
The
There's
real
if I'm putting on a large sum, I want to be winning a large sum.
right,
You know what I
guaranteed.
mean? And like
Yeah.
I'd agree to put 10 grand on to win maybe like 50. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like maybe, but even then, I don't know if that's still enough, right? I think you'd put 10 grand on to win 100,
Right.
right? Or something closer to that. But to win free, I'm just like, yeah.
If you would have paid 10 grand and Nate Diaz plus 400, you would have come out with bank if he would have pulled it off in that final round. But we'll get to there later. We'll get to that later.
Now, Chase Hooper, Steven Pedersen.
Oh, poor baby boy. Yeah, little curly hair. I felt bad about that one.
It did go the way I was expecting.
No, Peterson dominated him from start to finish. He really did. It's like there's no doubt about it.
He did put himself in precarious situations. Like sometimes it was just like you don't need to be in that situation. Now he always got out. He always got out and he ended it with some damage. But
Mhm.
it's a bit like maybe next time it doesn't work so well. Right.
Right.
So why put yourself in that situation? So there was that. But yes, he was always able to counter. There's a thing with a leg lock, right?
Mhm.
I think to the layman, it might always look like, oh, they're in trouble, they're in trouble. But when you look at that position, if the knee is out of the hold, it's not really anything because you can't get any leverage. There's no possibility of a tap if you don't have the knee as the fulcrum. And
That
Pedersen always extricated the knee.
So almost sounds like you're like burning yourself out more so than you're doing damage to the other dude at that point.
Well, I mean, the problem is when you're going to that position, if you're attacking, you can't defend the head. So that's why Peterson was able to then just to hit hammer fist and just
Mhm.
land shots because Chase had the hold of the leg, but he's not able to now defend his head. And so if you don't have it, it's kind of like don't unless
Right.
you are really in on it, don't bother because it really puts you in a fuckery situation.
Too much risk versus reward at that point.
Yeah, but
So,
if you are a leg lock expert, like when we saw Hall put one on BJ Penn, like the
right.
way Ryan Hall did it, whew,
Classic.
like they don't call Ryan Hall the wizard for nothing because Ryan Hall is slick like a motherfucker, and he can do it. And so the risk for him is kind of minimal. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like when you see people like Gordon Ryan, Gary Tonin, any of the any of the Danaher Death Squad. Like I'm just so blocked up, man. My allergies are just killing me.
No
It just
worries.
sounds like I'm speaking through a motherfucking mouthful of cotton wool or something. Right? It just sounds terrible right now.
No
But
worries, brother. You sound fine. You sound great. You sound
yeah,
great.
there's certain people that could are slick on it, like Craig Jones, Boogeyman, Richie Martinez, and his brother Gio. You know what I mean? There's certain people that are just down with those leg locks. But yeah, I like because Chase has been training a little with Ryan, right?
Mhm.
So I understand the kind of like, oh, I could go for it, but it's just like, yo, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. But, I will definitely say he's striking vastly improved from the last fight. Against Peter Barrett, the striking still looked very rudimental, but today, Saturday, the striking was a lot crisper.
I mean, he's still young. He has a ways to go. But I mean, Hooper has a lot of potential.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
He's coming through.
He's definitely got a lot of heart up in there. He's got a lot of heart. And, there's definitely a lot of promising moments in the fight. So, although Chase lost, you know what I mean? He ain't got nothing to hold his head down for.
Not at all. It's funny. I titled this fight the bully versus the cutie. Yeah, it definitely turned out that way. Bully fucking took him out. And he deserved it. But happy to say McKinney won me some money. Yeah.
Terrence McKinney was not playing.
No.
Jesus.
7 seconds match Masvidal? Boy, that was great. That was great.
I mean, technically it was quicker than 7 seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the Masvidal one was quicker than the time they actually gave it. Right? Because they're giving it the time that it takes the referee to get there, and they go, it's off. But
after a couple ground and pounds going on. Yeah, he was already out.
Call it the moment the dude is flatlined. And for Vola, oh man, it was just that right left.
That was
it. For Vola, just
that was deflated like this pop is fucking balloon.
Jeez. I mean, because McKinney has shown that he can finish a fight quickly, right? But in those LFA fights we have just seen, he ended the fight after, landing a good kick, something like that. It was never straight the hand. So I didn't expect him to be able to flatline Favola like that. Now, if he put together a combination, right? I was thinking, okay, he could do damage there, right? But to just straight KO power in the hand like that, ooh,
that was a happy surprise.
Yeah, great. But shame he fucked his knee up. That was some rough shit.
No, that was rough. But good for me. I made some money.
Nice.
That was a good one.
Man, I have to say, Movsar Evelev was all right. He was pretty dominant in his
versus Dawodu. Yeah, I was surprised on that one. Mosav took it.
I mean, like, look, you could see Mozart has got very solid. He's got very solid wrestling. So I wasn't surprised, but man, it was just the ease in which he did it.
He dominated the ground the entire freaking fight. I mean, Hakeem had a couple good shots at round 3, but outside of that, it was all most of this dominating on the ground all night long.
Oh yeah,
easily.
No doubt. Like let's just go back. Let's go way back. That first fight on the card, Carlos Felipe, Jake Collier. That was an odd fight. Ain't gonna lie, that was an odd fight because Collier had a very good first round. Collier had a very good first round, but he just seemed to gas hard.
Yeah, honestly, it seemed like Felipe actually took more damage initially. It's like he had some more physical wounds.
Well, Collier was landing some good leg kicks. You know,
Yeah,
his jab was working well. He was doing very well. But yeah, he just gassed.
he
He
really did.
he gassed, and he was too like he still was throwing shots, right? He was still landing that jab, but his movement had slowed right down, and he wasn't able to do anything else. And so Felipe was able to take over. And Felipe spent a lot of time admiring his work. So, you know what I mean? He like maybe if Felipe put together more combinations, he could have maybe finished that fight. But he was kind of looking and admiring. But
Yeah.
yeah, Felipe definitely took the fight. It was
Oh, by
just
far.
surprising. Yeah, I was very surprised Collier just gassed out so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was tired really friggin' quick, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lauren Murphy, Joanne Calderwood kind of went the way I expected it to go. Which, I mean, as I said, look, it's a shame. I really like Joanne Calderwood. But
Mm-hmm.
man, it's like, you know, I mean,
No,
Murphy was
he
able to
took it.
take her down, control her. And even
Yeah.
and in the third round, when Calderwood was able to stuff the takedowns, she then just didn't throw enough because it was clear she needed a stoppage.
Mhm. I was surprised that it was honestly it was a split.
Oh yeah, that was not a split decision. That was
No,
that was
no.
a silly. That is something. Yeah, that was one of those stupid judges things. Now Calderwood won the third round for sure.
Sure. Oh yeah, yeah. But 1 and 2 easily lucky. Lucky
Yeah,
took that. No problem.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I in the Pani Kanzed Alexi Davis fight, I thought I thought Pani might have been more dominant, right? Because she
Yeah.
did allow Davis to stay in that fight. But yeah, I do agree she won that fight. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was glad she won the fight because she's looked so good. She's really turned, you know, she's really turned herself around, and it just seems to have clicked. She's just seems to have found her flow. So, although this wasn't her best night, I'm glad she was still able to pull out that win. And that's what it is sometimes, that even when you're not on your best form, you can still win. And that's what she showed.
100%. Yeah, Penny looked great that fight. It's like honestly, the whole fight in general wasn't too memorable, but she definitely took it like by points. Without a doubt, she dominated from beginning to end. Davis was sort of weak. Didn't really have a whole lot to respond to Penny. So no, I had no problem with that decision.
Well, it was just Davis only had one type of attack. I mean, that was the thing. It was just, you know, Hanny had a bit more of a diverse attack. and
Yeah.
and they and Davis had good moments, but as soon as Penny was able to see, oh, this is the attack,
Mhm.
it then just became easy to get around it because you knew exactly how she was going to come at you.
Exactly. She knew how to respond to everything that Davis threw at her. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy with that result. I mean, looking forward to her next fight for sure.
Mm-mm. Now, one fight that was definitely memorable. Oh my God.
Okay, what you talking?
Drew Dober, Brad Riddell. That fight was straight
Oh my
bananas.
goodness, they were just back and forth the whole friggin' time. That fight was so friggin' good.
And you thought it might be done mad quick. I
Right.
mean, when
Yeah.
Dober hurt Riddell, yeah, I mean, you thought, oh shit, it's done. Because it took a little while. Because at first, you know what I mean, Dober was able to stuff those takedown
Mhm.
offenses.
I was worried
Um,
about that.
But then when Riddell was able to grab a hold of Dober, it was just like, okay. Like he couldn't take him down, but he was able to get that clinch and just recuperate because it looked like Riddell was done.
He did. He did. I thought he was done for a bit, and I was gonna lose money there, but he pulled it through. He fucking he had the money on Riddell. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it was funny because Dober looked really good, and then all of a sudden, you could see Dober got tired. Dober got tired,
and Riddell would come in with those big shots, like, boom, boom. It's like, yeah, he was causing some damage out of the blue.
Oh man, yeah, that right could not miss with that right.
No, it was a fucking laser focus. Like, bam, he was nailing that. It was beautiful. So great.
Oh man, it really was. That was such a fun fight. Such a fun fight, man. Yo.
Man.
So what did you think of I mean, we're gonna jump to the second fight of the main card. Belal Muhammad, Damian Maia.
Muhammad and Maia. Let me pull up my notes here.
Muhammad took a decision.
Yeah, he took the decision, which I agree with. Stop. Below one bit. Okay. Yeah, it looks like Maya just had one takedown throughout the whole freaking thing. I think, yeah, Muhammad pretty much dominated the whole freaking fight. Round one, man. People below. I mean, I would think probably round one went to Maya, round two Bilal, and it really just came down to round three.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Because the thing is, Maya only one form of takedown,
right?
Which was just like, you know what I mean? You need to be able to try different. When the single isn't working, you have to be able to then go to the double. You have to be able to try the body lock. You have to be able to try maybe the arm drag. You know what I mean? The trip. Right. Like you have to be able to go to different attempts, even pull guard. Right. Mm-hmm. But Maya just had the single. And it was clear that, Muhammad just had like crazy balance. There was times that leg was so high. And you're just thinking, oh, well, that's a takedown. And yeah, Muhammad was able to stay on his feet, which super impressive.
You would expect more from Maya, though. He should, I mean, from his experience, he should be able to do a little bit more than what he was doing that night. He should have more weapons in the tank right now.
I mean, he like that's always been his go-to. So it didn't surprise me because this far in the game, the chances of picking up a crazy bunch of new skills is very low. But I think just in previous fights, the other opponent has come at him in a certain way, which has enabled him to get those takedowns, to get in those positions. Because even though Muhammad was, very dominant in that third round, he never looked like he was going to finish the fight.
No.
He never really took it to Maya. Like he won on the outside with the jab and just a little dirty boxing inside, but it wasn't a super dominant performance.
Right. No. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he would never get the finish on him for sure. The fight would just went on forever when ultimately probably been a fucking draw. But I think what with round three, Muhammad did take it because Maya didn't have a whole lot of offense for him.
Yeah.
Is this his last fight?
I don't know. Like, I believe it is because I think he was saying he just wanted one more fight. So I think it is, but you know, I don't know. Like maybe he doesn't want to go out on that performance. Maybe he wants one more, but it's hard to think of who would he fight next.
Exactly.
Like, you know, one more fight could be just, you know, call someone who, you know, like another vet in the game, something like that, rather than try someone who is high up in the rankings or anything like that.
I would really enjoy if UFC were to have like a legendary league where you have all our old guys come in. You could have Maya in there, Cerrone, and who knows, even what about GSP or whoever? Just all fucking Bisbing, just all of them come in where it doesn't really matter. Just good old the people that we love just fighting again. That would be good. That would be fun.
No. That
It's
would
unsanctioned.
be dreadful. That would be the worst.
It would be entertaining.
No. This isn't Bellator. This isn't, you know, Ryzen. Like, this is
exactly Ryzen.
This is the top promotion, right? So if you're not there to win a title, you shouldn't be there, right?
No, it's like an exhibition fight. That's all. This exhibition stuff, just for good times. I would enjoy that.
Not in the UFC, son. Not in the UFC.
Be UFC minor for fun.
No.
Nothing for real.
You would have to go to look, you could do that shit on one of the indie promotions, not the UFC.
Go do it in Japan or somewhere, you know. I'd pay for it. Wherever it's unsanctioned, you can do all the drugs you want, roid up. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Oh my God, Mike. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
That's just brutal.
Now, the way that main card opened up.
Oh, boy. Ooh.
Now, there was a lot of heat coming into this fight. Paul Craig and Jamal Hill, they had a few good words. So, boy, this was going to be one to look forward to. And, this fight. And the crazy thing about this fight, right? Because it was all in the transitions. And Hall showed that he, you know what I mean? He knew how to extricate himself from those situations. He was good. He was definitely decent. But, you know what I mean? Craig is just a different animal, man. Craig is just like when Paul Craig is on, Paul Craig is fucking nasty. Like, you know what I mean? There's moments in fights sometimes where Paul Craig, like, he might stick on his back for way too long instead of getting up or, you know, things like that. But when Paul Craig is on, Paul Craig is a bad motherfucker. And Saturday night, Paul Craig was the dun-dada of bad motherfucker. Because what he did to Jamal Hall's arm, boy.
That was straight nasty. It was nasty.
I wouldn't do
we
that
all
to
saw
my
on
worst
camera
enemy.
before the ref. Like just stop it.
Man,
it was brutal.
Like, it was just when he got the extension of the arm. When he got the extension of the arm, that's when it happened. Because you just when you see it from a certain angle, you just see the way the arm was bent, and your arm does not bend like that. No. Your arm does not bend like that. That was some crazy shit. Now, it's insane because, you know, you just think back a few weeks and we saw the way that DuBronx had Tony Ferguson's arm.
Right.
And that was a nasty armbar. And the extension is kind of similar. It was kind of similar.
I mean, if
right?
Tony wasn't such a freak, he probably would have been dislocated too.
Well, yeah, it
Yeah, Tony's weird.
reminded me of I remember when Corey Sanhagen was in an arm bar from Ronnie Yaya, and oh my gosh, the way that arm was extended and the way Yaya was just twerking on that arm, you were just like, yo, the arm is broken, the arm is broken, what the fuck? But when Sanhagen got out, you're just like, yo, oh my days. So we have seen some crazy arm bars,
I
but
mean, honestly,
boy,
the way his arm was shaking, I thought this was another Chris Weidman leg situation. It's
well,
like,
I mean, it
yeah,
was
that
the arm, so it
was
wasn't going to be Chris Weidman leg, right?
no, I know.
I
Just the way it
mean,
was just flopping like
Mike, like
that.
there is. I don't know if you know how anatomy works, but the arm is here, the leg is there, all right?
No. I just know what looks nasty is what makes my tummy feels weird and I want to puke. It's like any kind of limb flopping around makes me want to faint. It's like
Woo.
leg, arm, whatever.
That
Yeah,
yeah, you could see that arm was fucked.
it
You
was
could
fucked.
see with the way that arm was flapping in the wind.
Uh-huh.
It was just like, yo, son, ref, the arm is done. The arm is done. But all power to Jamal Hill, because you did not see him scream. He was just hammer fisting. You know what I mean?
True.
Craig just, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Oh, and I like the way they then squashed their shit at the end, and it was all love, like, because you know what I mean. When you've been in a war like that, like, why are you mad? Why the fuck are you mad, man?
It's, honestly, with the love, I want to jump over to Figueredo Moreno. The way Figueredo handled that at the end, I have 100% respect for him. Is like, dude.
But I mean, come on, let's be real. There's no other way you can handle that shit, because when you are owned,
right,
when you are owned for every second of a motherfucking fight,
start to
right?
finish.
Like there's you can't say, oh, you caught me, that was a lucky punch, or oh, you know what I mean? Is like the ref stopped the fight. No. Like, Brandon Moreno just showed who the motherfucking man is in the flyweight division, son.
Straight up. And
That
honestly,
that that
Figueredo looks
fight.
sloppy. He looks sloppy just doing those big over. He's just going for the knockout without being technical. So
Well, you know what it was? Yeah, like, for those last two fights, right? And this is what I said. This is what I said on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Hey, not trying to say that I'm motherfucking Kev Nadamas, right? Ain't trying to say I'm clairvoyant and I've got the all-seeing eye. I am not trying to say that I am always right, Mike. That's
I'll
not
call you
what I'm
Kevin
saying.
Adamas. I like that.
But I was so fucking right. I was so fucking right about this, because when you watch the Embedded, right, the way Vittori and the way Figueiredo were talking, right, it was like Figueiredo was just like, oh, I'm gonna make him cry. You know what I mean? Oh, that the first fight wasn't really close. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And then, Vittori was saying, like, the first fight, I won that first fight. That, like, he's not evolved. I've evolved. I'm a smasher. I'm this, I'm that, blah, blah, blah. And it was, you could see both people overlooking their opponent.
Right.
And I felt that Figueiredo thought, I'm going to land a shot and just knock him out.
Straight up.
Because
that's how it was fighting.
Figueiredo, like, let's be real. Figueiredo, yes, it's true. Figueiredo was ill going into that fight. That's a fact. He was ill going into that fight, right? So he's like, oh, if I'm 100%, I'm gonna stop him. But in that first fight, Moreno walked through those shots.
Easy.
Moreno walked through those shots. And Moreno was the one that stunned Figueiredo,
Straight up.
right? And that was that fight. And then coming into this fight, right? Figueiredo was the last person to weigh in, right? He left it literally to the last second of the weigh-in window to get on those scales. So from that, you can see that it was a tough weigh-in. It was a tough cut. And so all that talk last week of Figueiredo saying, I want to move up. I want the opportunity to become a champ. I kind of feel it's more of a case of this flyweight weight cut is tough as a motherfucker. So I would like to go up, win that belt so I can relinquish the flyweight and just become a bantamweight now, right? Because I kind of feel our days of watching Figueiredo as a flyweight are really coming to an end. I don't think we're going to see him as a flyweight for much longer.
Honestly, yeah, that's like my main note I have here. Figueredo needs to move up to 135 because the weight cut really freaking hurt him. He can't handle it. He needs to go up. He needs to go up another weight class for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine we might see him a few more times, but I think it won't be long until we do see him move up. But Moreno, oh my days,
dominated.
Moreno put in the work. Moreno put in so much work, and it showed because he dominated every single position. Every single position. It was incredible.
And he's such a great spokesman for the flyweight division as champion. I mean, he speaks fluent English. He's very personable. People like him, and he's a fucking beast. I think he's great for the UFC all the way around.
When you think about Brandon Moreno, right? So he was on the Ultimate Fighter, loses his fight in the first round. But as I said, because this was a crazy thing, you knew he was in the Ultimate Fighter, but he debuted in the UFC before the season finished. So straight away, you knew he didn't win, but the fact that he was able to debut, you're just like, okay. Right. Like you'd think, oh, he must have had some crazy great fight in there. And like, to be honest, his fight in the first round, which he lost, it wasn't incredible. But then when you hear what everyone says about him, that he was just a sponge. You know, even though he lost that fight, he was there every day. He was soaking in. He was asking questions. He was evolving his shit. Right. And when you saw him in the UFC, the fights he was putting on, he put on some great fights. And the fights he lost, I did not think that Sergio Pettis beat him. I thought he won that fight. And then I thought he won the other fight. I forget who it was. But there's another fight that he lost on a split. And I thought Moreno won that fight. And he got cut. He got cut. And it wasn't he got cut because of a bad record. He got cut because the division looked like it might get folded. Right? Yes. But he then went on and put on such a great performance outside. Right? And that they were just like, you know what? We need to bring motherfucker back. And he has just, I think you look at a fighter, right? Because you get so many people going, I deserve this. I deserve, and you just be like, what? You're 5-0. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you haven't fought. True. You know what I mean? There's people that are in double figures, right? Who have been in wars, who have really put it out there, right? So there's people that talk about I deserve and you're just like, man, what are you doing? Just win your fights and it will come. You know what I mean? Exactly. And you see people like Brandon Moreno who went out there and just put on work. And even at you know, what I mean, UFC, was it 256 in December, right? It was like I thought he should have got that fight instead of Alex Perez. I thought Brandon Moreno was the one that deserved a title fight at that time. And they gave it to Perez. And Moreno fought Brandon Royval. And Brandon Royval is a tough motherfucker.
For sure.
Right? You saw Royval take out the city kickboxing cat, who trains with Adesanya and Riddell and all of them Kaya France. You saw Royval take out Kaya France, which was an incredible fight. That was so much fun. And just the other fights Royval has been in, he has looked so good. Looked really good in the LFA. And Moreno just blew him out the park. And Moreno wasn't like, oh, I should have the title fight. This is unfair. You are rubbish. You were bad. Brandon Moreno did what you're meant to do, right? When you don't get the fight that you thought you should get, you go on and put on a performance that says, I am undeniable. And that's what Moreno did. He put on that performance against Royval that said, I am undeniable. So he got the title fight, right? Now, things came about a little crazy. Like, you know, Khamzat and Edwards both got COVID. So there was a gap. And they were like, oh, because, you know, Moreno and Figueiredo both finished their fights mad quick on that night. So it's just like, yo, guys, do you want a title fight? And it was just like, all right. And then we saw Moreno elevate his level in that fight against Figueiredo in December. We saw him elevate it. We saw him put it on. And it was a great fight, right? And so people were wondering, was that the cap? Right? Was that the cap? Was that as high as Moreno could go? And when you look at Moreno, you look at his unfed, he's playing with Funko Pops and motherfucking Lego.
Funko Pop and Lego, that's hilarious.
You're right. And the crazy thing is, now he is the champion. Moreno is going to have his own fucking Funko Pop. That is a crazy thing. Moreno is going to have a Funko Pop of himself as the motherfucking champion. But you look at Moreno and you would never think that motherfucker is an assassin. And you know what I mean? He moved to Vegas. He brought in so many people, and we have seen him take his shit to the next level. Take his shit to the next level to the extent that he won in every motherfucking area on Saturday night. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Now, do you think, though, honestly, personally, Moreno has been overlooked up until this past weekend, myself included. But do you think this was enough to bring Triple C out of retirement? Triple C was there thinking about it. It's like, ooh, that might happen.
I mean, I think that, you know, Cejudo, right now, he's more interested in a boxing match against Ryan Garcia. I think that's where, you know, Cejudo's mindset is at, right? And I think if Cejudo comes back, I see him probably more likely to fight at bantamweight, right? I think that weight cut, it was hard for him to. You know what I mean? He made it because he's a like, at the beginning of his career, he missed weight a couple of times for sure. But he then got his shit dialed in and he was able to make those cuts. But they were tough. Right. And I kind of think if he came back, he's coming back at bantamweight.
I can see that. That's a big if, though. That's a big if.
And he even, you know, he's talked about challenging Volkanovski. So I see him coming back more in the higher weight class rather than go to flyweight.
Okay. Oh,
But you know, there's good fights at flyweight for Moreno. The flyweight division has really gone through a motherfucking Indian summer. Yeah, I think that's what you might call it. I think that's the right.
That's a little bit racist in the United States, but I'll take that.
Do not try and cancel me on my own motherfucking podcast, Michael. What the fuck are you doing? Son of a bitch.
A little bit.
But no, the flyweight division, man, from a point where it was just Dimitri Johnson. You know what I mean? Dimitri Johnson was the highest you got, right? We have now got to a point where there are multiple people knocking people out, right? It's something we were not seeing. We just weren't seeing. And now there's a good few people with knockout power, and everyone has just elevated themselves.
Honestly, yeah, that's straight up. The flyweight has been finish after finish after finish, but yeah, now we actually got some knockouts going on. It's a whole new level going.
Yeah. So the flyweight division is fun, and I listen, I ain't gonna lie, right? Now, I didn't let me just make this clear, motherfuckers. I did not take a tissue out. Understand it. I did not take a tissue out, but I definitely felt some condensation on my eyes at that end when Moreno won, and you just saw his wife come in with his daughter, and it was just, man, you just saw what that meant to that motherfucker. God damn. That was some nice shit. That was just some nice shit.
It was real heartfelt shit for sure.
And
I appreciate
ain't gonna lie, right? For a motherfucker that looks like he's, you know what I mean, 15, Moreno's wife is, his wife is performing.
She's gifted for sure. I'd say about that. She's a gifted woman, and yeah, bless be her. He's
yeah. He's got 3 kids. Moreno's got 3. Moreno is young, and he's got 3 kids already. So he needed to become a champion to just put food on those motherfuckers' plates, man.
He's probably got 2 more kids coming, you know. I'm assuming, before it's all over. Yeah, 2 more on deck.
Oh man, yeah, that was an incredible fight. That was an incredible fight.
I'm a new Moreno fan by far. It's like I love Figgy, but Moreno just dominated start to finish.
Yeah,
and he got the finish with the fucking armbar. It's like,
oh man. And that was like the fact, because didn't get it on the first attempt, but he just it was a rear naked.
Don't mind that. That's my wife smoking weed in the bedroom, setting off the smoke alarm. I apologize for that right now.
I was just like, yo, what the fuck is happening, man?
All right, it's all good now. It's all cool. All right, she got it turned off. She got it a good hit. It's okay, baby. It's all good. Before I want to talk about the final fight, which I really, really enjoyed, what about Izzy and Vettori?
I mean, Izzy just put on a clinic.
That was it. He pieced him out all night long.
Yeah. Like, as I said, look, you could see that, Vettori and Figueiredo underestimated their opponents. Right? Vettori had been talking about how he won the first fight. He clearly won the first fight. He's more skilled. He's a beast. He can do whatever he wants. Adesanya is nothing, blah, 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 blah. Right? Now, did Vettori take Izzy down? Yes, he did. Could he hold him? No, he couldn't.
Oh.
And even when he took him down, he didn't land damage.
No, not
He
at all.
didn't land damage on Adesanya when he had him down, but Adesanya was able to get back up. Right? That was a big
Yep.
thing. And
He got up
then,
every single time
yeah,
without a problem.
and Vittori didn't have a different method of attack. That was the thing. He had one form of attack, and once that wasn't working, he was lost.
Right.
He was lost. Now, I will say, Vittori showed some good head movement for sure. He showed some good head movement, but he got gassed.
Mm-hmm.
He got gassed in that fight. And
And his
so it
leg
just
was
became him
fucking
doing the motions.
brutalized.
Oh man, his leg got ate up.
Yeah, man.
I was surprised Adesanya didn't stick with that leg kick.
I agree.
You know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
the damage had been done.
Mm-hmm.
And Vittori just didn't really have enough. Didn't have enough. And just was outworked.
I think Izzy switching up the leg kick because Vittori was sort of expecting that, so now he was able to do different moves at the time, go for kicking the head or throwing a jab or whatever, because he was scared of that fucking leg at that point.
Well, I think Adesanya just did a good job of giving different looks. You know what I mean? So it's like if Fedori was trying for the takedown, he was throwing uppercuts, he was throwing leg kicks, he was throwing high kicks. He was just mixing up their game so much that Vittori didn't really know what to do. And it was just one hell of a performance.
That's it.
Adesanya really shone. It was
Adesanya
very
reminded me
impressive.
of Mayweather style, just picking them apart all night long, bit, and yeah, this he won by far.
Yeah, I did feel that if Adesanya had just really put the foot on, he possibly would have finished that fight. But I wasn't mad at the outcome. Yeah, I mean, I feel that he could have finished it, but I was like, all right, I'm fine with this. I was surprised at Vittori at the end because when Adesanya went over to him, it was just like, yo, dude, you know what I mean? And then Vittori says like, I won that. But
I
you're
know
just
that
like,
was ridiculous, dude.
but the
I mean, that
problem was even you knew it was going badly because even in the corner, right? Even when Rafael Cordoris was talking to Vittori in the corner and being like, yo, and it was impressive because a lot of times when people are losing, the corner talks them crazy, like, oh yeah, you won that round, keep on doing your thing, keep on doing. No,
right.
like Vittori's corner was honest as a motherfucker, and they were telling him, you are losing, you need to do this. And Vittori was acting like, how dare you say no? That's not how it went. And it was just like, wait, what's happening here? Like because firstly, you have to trust the corner, right? The whole point is you're bringing people in your corner who you trust to tell you what the fuck is going on, right? And when you aren't listening to those people, when you think those people are telling you bullshit, that's a problem.
Straight up.
That's a big fucking problem. And so I don't even know what's going to happen with Vittori because, it was insane. Some of that shit was insane.
I mean, he really needs to get out of his own head. Even Izzy was saying in the post-fight interview was like, if Vittori were just like to kind of in a week or two, just kind of reflect back and admit where he fucked up, he could come back as a way better fucking fighter.
Oh
Because
yeah, no doubt.
Vittori's got the skill and he's got the talent. He just has to admit his faults and improve upon them.
Yeah.
That's it. He's great. I'm still a fan. He just has to get out of his own head and realize that he's not as there are people better than him, which is Adesanya.
Well, yeah, it's just looking at, what you're doing and going, okay, I need to improve that, or that,
Right.
I could be better at this, and doing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's just not what we're seeing from Vittori right now.
Mm.
Because he beat Hermanson, he beat Holland. You know what I mean? But right, he had Hermanson in trouble and couldn't finish him.
Straight up.
You know what I mean? Like Holland was hurting Vittori on their feet, so Vittori had to take him down. And even when Vittori took Holland down, wasn't landing crazy ground and pound.
Right. True.
You know what I mean? So when you look at those performances, now listen, he won the fight. So yeah, hats off. You know what I mean? You found a way to victory. That's always a good look, right? But when you really analyze those fights and you look at them and go, all right, he had these people in these positions but couldn't finish. It was then like, well, how's he beating Adesanya? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like the way he was talking, you're like, wait, but in these two situations, you didn't do the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you're saying that you're gonna do all of this, but when you had the opportunity to do those things, you didn't do them before. So why are we meant to think you can do those things now?
Exactly.
That was the whole thing with Vittori going into this fight, because he wasn't able to look at those fights and go, yeah, I should improve on those things.
Exactly.
He was just blinded by his own rhetoric, and he thought, oh, I'm gonna walk through Adesanya. And it did not go that way.
No, not at all.
Nah. Now,
Easy took it hands down.
oh, he did.
Without a doubt.
He did. Now, a fight, what I mean, what someone was calling, and it basically, for the most part, went the way they were saying. It's Leon Rocky motherfucking Edwards, because he really he put
Put on a
in
clinic.
work.
Yeah, Leon Edwards put on a clinic round 1 through 4. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. One through 4. Edwards is piece fucking Diaz apart easily.
Well, even in the 5th round, he was still doing good until the end.
Until the end.
Yeah.
When Diaz basically took the fucking everybody's spotlight from that last few minutes. It's like that was incredible finish. 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. It would have been a whole different outcome.
I mean, maybe, but the crazy thing about the end of that fight, right? When you look at it, because there was a minute left. There was a minute. It was at 4 minutes when he landed the left hand and rocked Edwards, right? And a minute is enough time to do the thing. Well, you've got someone on, Bambi legs, right? You should be able to finish that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning, Edwards couldn't close the distance. So couldn't tie him up, couldn't get the takedown. I was just shouting at my screen. I was just like, take him down, get inside, take him down, or at least clinch. And he couldn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those were those moments where Diaz should have finished the fight.
He should have.
Right? That there was enough time for Diaz
after that left,
to finish
he
that fight.
hesitated.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't eat. So, 10 more seconds, I don't even know. I don't think he would have. Because he had a minute. He had a minute with someone who was nearly gone. Nearly gone.
It almost seemed like Diaz, after he landed that left, he was surprised that Leon was staggered as he was. It's like if he would have just continued with the attack after that, he would have got the finish. But I think he sort of looked away and like, yeah, see what I did? Instead of just going for the kill at that point.
Well, I think he thought, oh, it's a done deal. I think he thought it was a done deal, that with someone as rocked as that, it's just a matter of time, right? And at the beginning, he did land shots, right? He did land some shots, but Edwards was moving away, so they weren't flush. They were at the apex of the strike he was landing because Edwards was moving away, right? So it was nothing too clean. And then Edwards was able to get a hold of Diaz. But it was just like in those moments, I don't know if Diaz could have just run forward, literally just run and grab him, right? Maybe. But didn't happen.
No.
But in the moments before, in those first 4 rounds, Leon Edwards, Leon Edwards looks so good, so
really
good. And you know what I loved, right? When Diaz clinched up with him, the way Edwards countered that, right? Because he was able to sweep around and take the back. And the great thing was, because you saw it, right? So when Vettori went in on a takedown on Adesanya, he left his head out and took those Travis Brown elbows to the side of the head. Right. So Edwards scooted around to the back, so his head was in the center of Diaz's back, and Diaz couldn't come with any sort of strike to his head. So it was very smart. So he had him like that, and then he's able to get that body lock takedown. And he got that body time and time again. It's such a beautiful transition. Man, such a beautiful transition that Edwards was doing. It was, oh my gosh, it was so good.
So good. Technical. It was so fucking technical. It was great.
Yeah, Edwards just showed, man, he had great wrestling. He had great counter striking, great forward striking. He was just really putting it together. And I think the big thing was, right, when you're watching that fight, he was very focused. Diaz was trying his funky things, like looking away, walking to the side. You know what I mean? Just try. Edwards was able to counter that. But then the difference was, so when we were 4 minutes into the 5th round, you saw Edwards kind of relax a little bit. And that's when he got caught. Right? Because he thought, we're 4 minutes, it's done. Right? And so he lost concentration for a second. And boom, that's when he got hit. But up to that point, he was focused, he was locked in.
Dominated the whole fight.
Put on that performance.
Easily, yeah. Honestly, his next fight too, he's gonna learn from that mistake. He will not lose focus. He will just stay on target entire time.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Now, like, I think he gets a title shot next, right? But I don't know if he's beating Usman. Like, to be honest, I like Edwards. I really like Edwards, but right now, it's hard to think who can beat Usman.
No one.
It's hard to think who can beat Usman.
Amanda Nunes, maybe? It's like I can't imagine anybody more dominant in this sport right now in their own respective class, you know. You got Usman, you got Nunes in their own division.
Usman can just put it together so well. His wrestling is so good. So good. And his striking is just vastly improved. He's knocking people out, you know. So I know Edwards has said that he thinks Usman has become too in love with his hands. But yes, he's knocked those people out. He knocked out Covington. He knocked out Burns.
Sure.
But I think the way he mixes his attack up, right? He's still, doing those takedowns. He's still feinting for the takedowns, right? And I think that's the difference. So I don't believe he has fallen in love with the striking to an extent where he's forgotten the wrestling. You can see the wrestling is still there, but he's just mixing things up in a way that are working so well. So it's hard to think that however good Edwards looked, and Edwards looked very fucking good, I don't know if he can beat Usman.
No.
And I don't know who can beat Usman.
I don't know anybody.
I think Wonder Boy has a great style.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we saw Wonder Boy do to Jeff Neal was, oh my days, that was something. But Usman has got very good footwork. So yeah, I still would say Usman wins, but I think that would be a different fight. But yeah, it's very difficult to look at that division and think, all right, that dude would take out Usman. It's tough.
No. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I don't see anybody taking out Usman anytime soon.
Yeah. But hey, I definitely agree with the bonuses. So Brandon Moreno gets a performance of the night for his finish of Figueiredo. Paul Craig gets a performance of the night for his finish of Jamal Hill. And the fight of the night was Drew Dober, Brad Riddell. And
100%.
yeah, I think all of those are, very well warranted.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm sure Terrence McKinney is getting a little something in that paycheck.
Oh yeah, definitely. McKinney had a great win. He better.
Oh man, it was such a good win. Good win. So yeah, this was a great. I very much enjoyed this card, man.
Absolutely. Now, July 10th is going to be a good time too. Conor Poirier.
Jesus Christ.
That whole card is looking stacked.
Like, it feels like that card must have 20-something fights on it. Because every week, every time I'm doing, having to put together my outro of the podcast, I'm just seeing, wait, another fight's been added to that card? It's just like, wait, how many? Right? It's weird because it says there are 14 fights on the card, but it just feels like there are more fights, right? So the co-main event, Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson. That's a great co-main event.
Is this in Vegas?
Yup.
Oh, that's okay. That explains a lot. This is why the UFC is putting a lot of in first back time in Vegas for a main sold out crowd. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's like International Fight Week is usually in Vegas. So like the first, at the moment on Tapology, the first fight is Max Griffin, Carlos Condon. Now I'm sure that isn't going to stay there, but if that's an incredible first fight. But you just look, Max Griffin, Carlos Condon, Nico Price, Michel Ferreira, right? Incredible fights, man. Arini Aldana, Yana Kutsenstaya. Oh my days.
Incredible.
Dries Dupias, who looked sensational in his debut against Trevor Giles. Man, that's a good fight. Tai Tuivasa, Greg Hardy.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh my gosh.
My goodness. Yeah, it's great from start to finish.
Matt, I am so looking forward to Ryan Hall, Ilya Tapira. Yeah. That's a fun. Kevin Lee, Sean Brady.
Maya
I
and
mean,
I. Ooh.
the fights on that card are incredible.
And you can never forget Sugar Shane O'Malley. He's always a good show.
I mean, but
The Burns and the Wonder Boy fight is I'm most excited about. I think from the whole fight, the whole card.
that's a great fight. That's a great fight.
And
But
Wonder Boy.
I kind of feel, you know what I mean? You can't sleep on next week.
No, we got Korean Zombie back next week
Against Dan Ige, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great fight. Alexei Olenek against Sergey Spivak. You know what I mean? Diego Lima against Matt Brown.
That's the first time looking at the actual card. Oh shit, you got Marlon Verrera going on. And
Davy Grant.
Dude, holy crap.
Tim Means against Danny Roberts.
Brown and Lima? Oh damn.
You know what I mean? There are, oh my days, there are so many great fights on this card. Casey O'Neill in her second fight.
I've been
and Casey O'Neill looked so good in her first fight. So you cannot sleep on this card.
The weekend you got Gain and Volkov. LA, oh shit, dude. We got fights coming up.
Yep. So yeah, this is a fun one.
Yes. We got a fun few weeks.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I think that's it. I think we've recapped.
Yes, it was a great time.
Right. Yeah, that was a fun fight. And yeah, I think there's some interesting matchups to make, you know, coming out of this card. Definitely some interesting matchups to make. And it's going to be interesting to see where some people go.
On with the Diaz, I'd like to, since Masvidal had a loss in his last fight, would be a Diaz Masvidal rematch would be nice.
I don't know, because I just think that, you know, Masvidal clearly won that fight. I don't think it was close. So I don't know. Like, I can imagine that if Poirier was to beat Conor, I think we're getting Diaz McGregor 3.
Oh, I think I have a note on here somewhere where I hope Conor loses so we can see that. I've been waiting for. I want fucking Diaz McGregor 3. I want that fight so bad.
Oh man, but yo, we got some good fights, because you have to think like, where does Paul Craig go from here?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You got people rising up all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah. You like some of these divisions, man. You think, oh, where are they gonna go? Now we know that Eric Anders is coming back to middleweight, right? But it sounds that Darren Stewart might stay at light heavyweight.
Oh, wow.
Huh. So you had that, but then the performance Musav Evelev put on, hey, who's he gonna fight next at, you know, featherweight? Right? That's an interesting one. And I have to say, right, if Ryan Hall wins his fight, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. I would not mind seeing Evelev, Ryan Hall.
No, yeah, that would be a great fight.
Yeah.
That would be an amazing fucking fight.
You know, there's just some really good fights to make coming out of this.
Right.
So
it's all good.
Yeah.
All excited, man.
So yes, that is it for another episode, people. We will be back on Wednesday to break down the Zombie Eag fight. So until then, enjoy The Ultimate Fighter, and yeah, we out.
See you, brothers. Nice.